Okay, so in this warm-up, it's saying Mari bought 6 packets of tomato seeds. Each packet contained 24 seeds. She planted 1 packet of the seeds, and 15 seeds sprouted. So basically, if you think about it, out of 1 packet, 15 sprouted. That means 15 grew. So out of the 20, we really don't need the 24 at all, because they're asking which statement about the seed in the remaining packet is best supported by this information. So the seeds, they're talking about sprouting. Like I said, those are that they grew. So if I know that in 1 packet, 15 seeds sprouted, then the remaining packets, how many do remain in this case? 5, right? Because they're asking only about the remaining packets. So that's 5. So that means how many seeds would sprout? So this is where you could do cross product, right?
Yes.
So 15 times 5 is 15 times 5.
15 times 5.
So 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 plus 2 is 7. So that means out of the 5 packets, 75 seeds will sprout. So let's look at the answer choices. Number 1, no more than 50 seeds will sprout. Well, 75 is more than 50, right? So that's incorrect. Between 50 and 75 seeds, that could be possible. At least 100, but not more than 120 seeds will sprout. Nope. And then all 120 seeds will sprout. No. So in this case, my answer is letter B. Now, number 2 is giving you an angle. And actually, it's 2 angles that share a side. Those are called adjacent angles. They're also called supplementary angles. Now, the reason they're called supplementary angles is because these are 2 angles that make a straight angle. Okay, and who knows what a straight angle measures? So a straight angle measures 180. So if we know that one of the angles is 30, what would the other one be? What would we need to do in order to solve that? So you're subtracting 30. So that means that x will equal to 150 degrees. Now again, these are called supplementary angles. And supplementary angles are 2 angles that measure 180 degrees. Or 2 angles that, when you add them up, equals 180 degrees. So whenever you see a problem with this, it's 2 angles. When you add them, equals 180. So if you're missing 1 angle, you could just subtract it from 180, and that gives you the remaining angle. Any questions on that? So this is a type of angles relationship we're going to be doing this week and next week. So make sure you remember those. So last week we actually did compound events. This week we're going to go ahead and go over how to do compound events. Remember, there's independent events and there's dependent events. We're going to go ahead and continue practicing today. Tomorrow we're reviewing for your test. You do have a test tomorrow. And then on Wednesday you're starting the test. And remember, you could use your composition book. So make sure you're keeping your notes in them too. So let's go ahead and start with this first one. It says Sandra has a bag of marbles that has 2 red, 4 yellow, and 1 purple. And what I like to do, I like to list them here, because sometimes it makes it easier than to go back and reading it. Okay, if he chooses one marble, replaces it, and then chooses another, what is the probability that he would choose a red marble than a yellow? So, because it says replaces it, that is what type of event? Independent. Okay, so we're looking for the probability of red than yellow. Okay, so with the red one, I have what? 2 out of how many total marbles do we have? 7. So on the red we have 2 out of 7. Because it's independent, then I know I'm going to multiply it with, what's the yellow probability? 4 out of 7. So then I just multiply it. 2 times 4 is 8. 7 times 7 is, can I simplify it? Yes, no? No. So if no, then this is our answer. Okay, the next one, I'm thinking that's how you pronounce Faiza's golf bag contains 9 white golf balls, 6 yellow golf balls, 1 orange golf ball, and 2 pink golf balls. Faiz is going to take out 1 golf ball, not replace it, and then can't read that. And then a different golf ball. What is the probability of teeing off a white ball and then an orange ball? Sorry, I couldn't read that. So the probability of white, then orange. Okay, so what's the probability of getting a white ball? 9 out of, so if you add those up, that's 18. Good. So that equals to 1/2 times, what is the probability of getting an orange ball? 1 out of 17, because it says not replace it. Not replace it, so that means the total is going to change. So then all we have to do is multiply it, and since we already simplified it, it makes it easier. So 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 17 is 34. So I can't simplify it anymore, so my answer is going to be 1 out of 34. Any questions on that? And this is a dependent event because the total changed. Okay, on this one it says a box of popsicles contain 5 grapes, 5 cherry, 5 orange, and 5 lemon lime. Suppose you eat one today, then another one tomorrow. What is the probability that you eat a cherry popsicle both days? Okay, so we're looking for the probability of, and remember, we could write also and cherry. That represents the same thing. Sometimes they'll say and, sometimes they'll say then, sometimes they'll say and then. So all that means that it's compound event. Okay, so is this an independent or dependent event? Dependent. Why, though? Yeah, you can't put it back, right? Once you eat the popsicle, it's not like you could put it back. So that's why it's a dependent event. So what's the probability of getting a cherry today? 5 out of, and if you add them up, 5, 10, 15, 20, so it is 20. So that becomes 1 out of 4. So then times, what would be the second day's probability? 4 out of 19. Remember, there's no longer 5 cherry popsicles because you already ate one. So that is decreased by 1. And then there's no longer 20 popsicles because you already ate one, so that decreases by 1 too. So now all we have to do is multiply. 1 times 4 is 4. 19 times 4, 76. Can we simplify it?
Yeah.
Yes, by what?
4.
By 4. So that equals to 1 out of 19. Now remember, guys, there is a shortcut to simplifying too. You don't always have to just simplify numerator and denominator when it's on the same one. You could also simplify it diagonally. So I could simplify this to 1, this to 1, and then if you actually multiply it, that's 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 19 is 19. So you could have done that too. Simplify it before, or you could just always simplify it after. Okay, so this is your assignment. You have 10 problems. It is probability. Guys, the only thing that we saw in this that we made a mistake on is that there's one of them that we didn't simplify, but the answers were correct. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the handout and make sure you turn in last week's work because I'm grading this today, and you turn this in also. So if you haven't finished last week's work, make sure you work on that first.